who is the director of the Icon Public School, an alumni of the Lady Irwin College, and a published writer in the field of English communication. She is an experienced principal with a demonstrated history of working in the education management industry.
But my next question, and the next question is to Ms. Aradhana Rana ma'am, is that apart from technology, right, apart from all the technological intervention and modification that we have, what can be some of the other catalysts to facilitate smooth and effective learning process? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, and very good evening to all of you. I would like to first of all start with a quote by Darwin, which I'm very fond of, and I really believe in it, that it's not the strongest of the species that will survive, nor the most intelligent. It is one that is most adaptable to change. And today, in this world of relentless change in the field of education, I would like to paraphrase it and say it's not the most qualified or the most skilled that will survive. It is again the most adaptable to change that will survive. So taking it on from the topic as such, where change is an integral part of the education system, where the education system changes by the time a student pays off his education loan. It is that kind of fast. So when we talk about change in the education system, I would like to start off with something that we've always criticized, is the rote learning method that we had in yesteryears. In my time, it was the rote learning method. Now, actually, that method was the need of that time. The society at that time needed that method of instruction. So it was done. We had no calculators, we had no Google, we had no tabs. So what did we have? We had the human brain. It needed to store a lot. So we trained it to store. Now, at present, in the present scenario, it is all redundant, because now with a click of a button, you have all information at hand. Why would you store knowledge in your brain? So when you can store it in a cloud, it's better to store it there. So now what is a brain supposed to do? Now the brain is supposed to use this technology that we have towards high order thinking, extrapolate the ideas that we have, and form solutions. Problem solving has become very important. Form solutions to facilitate an effective learning process. Now, since you asked me besides technology, there are three very, very crucial steps to learning. The first one is the purpose. Unless you have a purpose, there is no learning. So the purpose adds to the skill of leading a fruitful life. What is the purpose of all learning? To lead a fruitful life. So education should be directed towards life skills. The syllabus of life must be our first priority. What are we going to teach? So, once we decide our purpose of learning, I think half our work is done, and we carry on a very smooth manner. Now, for this purpose, what is needed in today's scenario, in this change scenario, besides, of course, the technology that we have, is a lot of community engagement. Because, this is what we have to teach our new generation, to live together, to not have the world disintegrate the way, in the direction in which it is going. Mindfulness. So these are some kind of values and skills we have to teach our generations to survive as a race. So with this, now how are we going to do it with experiential learning? Every experience should add to learning. And this is what, this is not the role of technology. It is the role of life skills. Now to get students not only profession ready, but to be life ready. So this is the first step to learning, is to decide the purpose of learning. Once you decided the purpose of learning, the second step is the pedagogy. How are we going to transmit that knowledge to the child, to the student, Now in yesteryears, we had this very fantastic Gurukul tradition. Why was it so successful? Because in the Gurukul tradition, the student and the teacher formed a strong bond. Now, with this bond came a lot of love and respect. With the love and respect, the child's mind was a prepared soil to receive knowledge. And this is what we fail to do. We're making robots out of our children. So you see, that was a need of that time. It could be done that time. Probably it cannot be done now. But yet we do need the strong teacher-student bond, because unless that is there, the student's mind is not receptive to learning. It is not technology. You cannot, give you those kind of insights that a teacher can. So it's not a student-teacher connection is very, very important. The goal that time was not to pass an exam and be a graduate or super educated to get a high-paid job. The whole idea of learning was to imbibe and absorb the complexities of life and solve problems that come in your life, which includes, of course, professions. Now, from that point of view, what I find very encouraging is that in the present scenario, we have methods like flip learning, which are very good, because what does it do? A flip learning method uses, the kind of values we are going to teach our children. What is the student doing? Researching, which somebody said also very, very important. The joy of discovery. It ignites curiosity. So peer learning, teamwork. So these are the things we learn with methods like flip learning. So those are very, very important. To develop metacognitive skills, to organize, to evaluate your thought process, and then use it to solve problems. So self-awareness, these kind of methods of learning become very important in the present day scenario. Otherwise, if we totally depend on technology, we might have people who are very, very highly educated but not life ready. There are students I've seen, they may be able to solve all the maths problems, they may know all the formulas, but in life what do we see? We see the most wealthy reduced to penury. You see a lot of film stars, they earn so much money but they die on streets, because why? They've not been able to manage their life and finances. So all the maths that they learned at school or college, what use is it? So from that point of view, it's very important to have an effective pedagogy in schools. And the third is positioning. Positioning is refreshing and enhancing your core skills, and along the way upskill, get any opportunity, upskill on any other side skills that you have. Life is not about a straight jacket thing where you just study the subjects. That if you take an engineering, you study physics, maths, and you become a good engineer. So from that point of view, upskill. Now, with this, 3 steps to learning, also very important is certain administrative level. At the administrative level, what do we do to enhance learning? One, get rid of, any kind of policy that leads to, I'm personally against reservations, so I'll put it in, proper words, to get rid of reservations, because what we are doing is making parasites out of people. So to get rid of education, make education more inclusive, but not at the cost of good education. You may rob the rich to feed the poor, but don't penalize the rich to make them poor. So these kind of administrative policies are detrimental to education. Any girls, backward classes, the poor, of course help them. Raise standards where the government takes up, all-inclusive education. So this kind of, at the administrative level, I think this is very important. And for a smooth learning process, besides technology, what we need is passion, motivation, dedication, and above all, inquisitiveness of the human mind. Thank you.
That was wonderful, ma'am. Thank you so much for such a structured and beautifully beautiful talk that really hits the nail on its head. And secondly, the way you spoke about becoming life ready. I think that's the final end goal of education. We somehow maybe get lost in between in all the goals that are intermediate, that should ideally lead to the final objective. But I think being very cognizant of that end objective definitely helps to take decisions, to make processes and systems that would lead to that. So once again, thank you so much, ma'am, for all the insights that you just shared.
So I think some of the things which have been pros over the last couple of years and 2 decades, and I want to kind of course, my co-panelists have spoken, but I would like to touch upon. One is, of course, process over product, right?
I would also like to bring in Ms. Aradhana Rana ma'am on what are some gaps you notice in school management and processes. How can technology help in alleviating them?
Thank you, Abhishek. Abhishek, first of all, there's no limit to efficiency, so there is always some better things can be done. But I really agree with Mahira, and that aspect of using technology in education is what I really like. What I fear sometimes is that technology and companies like yours overtaking that human aspect. We have so many companies and bringing us everything on a platter. My fear is that eventually it might kill the teacher's desire to innovate, to learn, because everything is done for them, and that's my basic objection to that kind of work. I'm really in favor of whatever makes clerical work easy, but technology is now coming into the space where teachers think, and they provide them so much that there's no incentive for the teacher to think. Everything is given. That is what I'm against. So we have to guard against that, because nothing, a teacher brings personality to the class, which technology can never do. We're not raising robos. I mean, we have ERP systems in school which are working very well. Communication is wonderful, and planning can be done on that. It saves, like Mahira said, it saves a lot of time on interaction. We don't have to find time in school. After school hours, we can probably discuss that, and what we can achieve at school meetings is definitely not commensurate to what we can achieve on these kind of platforms. So from this point of view, I'm really happy with technology. But since there's so much competition, there's so much money involvement, I think people are coming up with every possible app to make everything so easy, and schools are also lapping it up because it eases out the principal's work. All evaluation done by technology, very good. But I must know the student one-to-one. What I see as a teacher, what I know of student as a teacher, my graphs don't show me. So that's my little apprehension about technology. Otherwise, yes, it's really a wonderful tool.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think that's kind of summarizes how we should approach education, right? I think even in your earlier speech, you have talked about how we are here to make them life ready,
Yes.
and not even profession ready, right? So if say we kill the human aspect itself, then it's very doubtful that we'll be life ready, because then they're not going to be socially comfortable and so on and so forth. So I think to kind of summarize what you said, I think it's all about using technology to reduce redundancy and build efficiency,
Yes.
but not to kill creativity.
Yes.
I think that's a beautiful one-liner for all of us to take away. Thank you so much, ma'am, for those insights. And I think that brings me to teachment as well, and I'll talk about teachment. But before that, want to thank all the panelists and the attendees for joining in and for participating so actively. And I think we had a great discussion with a lot of insights.